Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the thing that the President Trump has raised in the US of giving what they've dubbed as a gold card, a citizenship gold card to people that want to come to the US. If you've got $5 million, you can have a fast track residency or residency work permit or citizenship. If you can put $5 million on the table, it's yours to be had. Now this is on the face of it, it's billed as something which is going to attract the best and brightest, the most entrepreneurial, the most business-like. The guys who kick ass and take names and employ people and will bring and create great wealth, and that's fantastic for America. Well, in the face of it, that sounds like if you've got $5 million, I mean, gee whiz, you must have done something to make it, make the money. So why not have that? And that's a quick, easy way of separating the peasants from the go-getters, the ones that are going to create and build wealth. So it seems. So it seems on the surface. Now you could fall into various traps saying, well, all the super hot chicks in the world are the ones that are the brightest. They've got the highest IQ. Hold on, the two don't go together there. There can be, the chances of a hot-looking babe having a high IQ are actually fairly low. But not that it doesn't happen; it does. But to just say that just have a blanket sort of situation, you got $5 million, you're good to go. Now, Australia actually had something, and I think to some extent it survives in different forms, but Australia had sort of a similar idea. If they've got $5 million, that's it. They must be like serious kick-ass business people. But in the third world or outside of the Western world, and even no longer in the Western world, I know people that have just been headed up NGOs for the globalists and done terribly destructive things to the West and to Western society, and they've been handsomely paid for doing so. And they're multi-millionaires and have become so just out of just race, gender, LGBTQ hustling and so on for the globalists, and again getting paid big bucks by US aid. So they've done. I mean, you wouldn't want somebody like that, would you? They'd be they've got nothing. All they've done is illicitly take money to effectively act as a fifth column, sabotaging Western white society and being paid a lot of money for it. So those people you wouldn't want. But coming back to what happened in Australia, this $5 million gold card citizenship fast track thing was floated around. Now, in places, the biggest uptake of this was in impoverished third world countries. When I say impoverished, per capita, doesn't mean there aren't rich elites in those countries. There always are. In some of the most dirt poor countries in the world, they have some of the top. Like one of the poorest countries in the world has, out of the top 1,000 richest men in the world, 50 of them come from this very poor country. So, and it's the same when Democratic Republic of Congo, these African failed states, they still have quite a decent handful of obscenely rich people. Nonetheless, and they haven't made this through hard work or being entrepreneurs. Far from it. So what happened in Australia was they offered this $5 million gold card thing. And just the rich, corrupt elites from third world countries took advantage of it. They didn't have to go through, filling out the forms and so on. They could just wave the $5 million around and bingo, they're at the front of the line and in they come. But they don't make their money the same way. You imagine that someone's got $5 million. Well, gee whiz, they came from a good family or something like that. They worked really hard at school. They hit the books. They went and got college and they worked really hard. They were outstanding students and they went out and they invented this and innovated that, and they were savvy business people and so. And what we want, those sort of people, those are the people we want. They're the salt of the earth. No, stop. They come they come from countries, firstly, where they're an established elite. So they come from countries where you don't study hard or hit the books. You just bribe somebody to give you a degree or give you a PhD, 2 PhDs, hey, 3 PhDs, doesn't matter. You're just bribing somebody. You're not having to hit the books and do the hard work or show your outstanding intellectual ability or anything like that. Then you get because you're part of the elite power structure, you get handed a business, a monopoly business for an area. For example, anyone in the district who wants to consume any sort of alcohol, they have to buy it through your company, through your business. That's it. They can't buy it anywhere. There's no competition. They buy it through your company. So you can make millions of dollars very quickly because you've got a monopoly in a particular designated geographical area. So now, do you need hardworking, capable people working in your company? Well, of course not. You just need your relatives, your friends, your concubines, your mistresses. That's all you need. The cash flow, the dollars coming your door are guaranteed. And if you've got a supplier or something like that wants you to pay up in anything other than the time frame that suits you, they better not go out of the way. Otherwise, you'll have them killed, or they'll be run out of town and never work in this town again. That's the power and influence you have. So are those the sort of people you want? They've achieved nothing, created nothing, built nothing, developed nothing. Everything has been handed to them, or they've gained through some form of corruption. So these aren't people you'd want anywhere in the world. You'd want them to stay where the fuck they are. You wouldn't want them to come into your country. So now, whether you're looking at drug dealers, or you're looking at monopolists or corrupt party goons in the Chinese Communist Party, or corrupt Brahmins in the caste system in India, it doesn't matter. But you're dealing with people who, again, have built and created nothing, and you don't want them in your society. They're parasites, and the only language they understand is monopoly and corruption. That's all they understand. So they're the last people you want. And when they come to Australia, now what do they do though? Let's suppose, well, look, they're coming in with $5 million or more. They're opening up a business. What's your problem? I mean, they're contributing to the wealth. Is that what? Stop. That's not how these people do business. Firstly, is they arrive and they set up a business, and they'll only sell and do business with other Chinese. And they've got a mafia goon system where they'll go around to all the restaurants and say, look, we'll close you down, or we'll beat you up or kill you, or whatever. You have to buy all your you have to hire all your dishwashers through us, or you have to buy all your your plates and your crockery or your tablecloths, or get all your dry cleaning through. They'll force a monopoly situation on a particular region, and they'll lean on their own, people from their own diaspora to do that. So they're very anti-competitive, these people, but the opposite of creating wealth through competitive capitalist behavior, quite the opposite. Now, on top of that, they'll then import peasant workers from China or India or wherever, and they'll do it. They'll say they're skilled workers, and they're just dishwashers or something like that. But they'll say they're skilled workers, and they'll play the game like this. They'll say that, well, these workers have to speak a certain dialect of Chinese, certain dialect, and only that dialect is. And so, well, we tried to hire people, and no one applied who speaks that dialect. So we've got no choice but to hire illiterate peasants from China and bring them in as slave labor. So they do that. So they're then used as fronts to import masses of slave peasant labor into Australia or into the West. So that's another scam that they do. On top of this, for every person that comes out, they may not actually be the people that have made any money at all. Maybe the mafia just loans them $5 million. This is also a scam, by the way, a very entrenched scam. They just loan them $5 million, wait until they get the residency papers, then the $5 million is taken back, and then that person who's a stooge now is just used as a proxy front to buy up real estate and to, again, import more illegal supposed skilled workers into the West. So every opportunity to game and rig the system these people use. So they're not the sort of people you'd want. And again, they just create these racial business monopolies, and they only spend money with other Chinese or Indians spend money with other Indians, and they're there to create an economic, a social, racial, economic unit within the West that's there, exists to their benefit, in the same way the Chinese did, all over Asia, for example. I went to a meeting of heads of construction companies in one third world country, and I was just staggered to see they're all Chinese, every single one of them. There was no other than people they were bribing, like the local police chief or something. They were well looked after. But for looking the other way on demand. And so again, and they bring their corruption with them. This is how they do business. They only understand corruption and intimidation and monopolies. That's the whole concept of the world. And so they've no idea about Western capitalism and innovation. So that's all bullshit to them. Why fuck about with such uncertainty when you just bribe someone, you can get the certainty that you need. So the $5 million citizenship gold cards, that's the sort of people that it attracts and brings in from third world or even middle income countries. So what sort of person is the ideal migrant from wherever in the world to the West? Well, do they speak good English? That's number one. Number two, do they actually have a real degree that they acquired, or a master's or a PhD, whatever it might be? And what you do is you examine them when you give them an independent, impartial, rigorous exam. Do you know this work? Do you know? Are you actually qualified in your area of expertise? It could be medicine or engineering or anything. It doesn't matter. So, and if you are qualified in that area and you are competent and can demonstrate that. Now, if you've got good English, you're going to live in an urban lifestyle. Possibly, parents have had exposure to international type situations. If you've actually earned your degree through hard work and being a diligent student, fine. And if you've achieved some sort of status in your own country, again in a field that requires you to be practicing and successfully practicing in a skill competitive environment, you're being hired over someone else because you have the skills they don't, those sorts of things. And you have not, this is important, you have not existed within a patronage, a corrupt patronage network, very important this, then that is a citizen who you'd want. Now, there won't be many of those people in the world. Again, out of the 400,000, 300,000 to 400,000 people that Australia brings in each year or recently, what an outrage! A population of 27 million, and that's how many they're bringing in. Again, under the direction and assistance of the globalists, but out of that lot, so say 300,000, just to pick a number, about 15,000 are economically viable. 15,000 are economically viable. That's it. And the majority of those are white anyway. So, in the whole world, the people who are economically viable, as in Western standards, there'd be 5,000 can come in each year. That'd be it. So those are the people you want. So I'd be, from my perspective, I'd be out looking for those sort of people. Now, also you have, I think, in order to round out when Indians and Middle Easterns become, so you cannot send back to the village of your ancestors for husbands and brides. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine, but you have to leave the country for 10 years. You can't do that. You have to marry a locally born person. Now, the reason for that, well, that's outrageous. No. The reason is that Indians and these sort of people in particular, they're desperate to keep their cultural and genetic, particularly genetic, but also keep their cultural status fresh and intact. So this idea of bringing husbands and brides from India, again, the village of their ancestors, all this sort of stuff is Even for Indians that are born in Australia, born in the West, or third or fourth generation, fifth generation, sixth generation, they're still sending back to the village of their ancestors for husbands and brides. They never want to integrate into the local cultural sort of scene, or to leave, more importantly, leave the Indian cultural scene. Or it could be the Middle East, or I mean, even Lebanese Christians, again, they still do it, still send back to the village of their ancestors for fucking husbands and brides, even when they're born in Australia, for goodness sakes. So these are the sort of, so if you deny them that, then they won't want to come, and that's fine, because you want people who are going to integrate. You don't want people who are not wanting to integrate or believe themselves to be spiritually and culturally superior, because they'll maintain that forever, and that means they'll never integrate, and they'll always attempt to steer a commercial advantage to their own family and their own genetic diaspora. So these are the sort of things that now, there's not many people in the world, as in the third world, there's not many people in the world who want to or are able to meet that high bar, but nonetheless it needs to exist. Coming back to the $5 million gold card now, or unless it's rigorously, there's rigorous oversight on, all it's going to mean is that every corrupt criminal mafia goon in the third world, who's been brought up in monopoly conditions, they've never done anything. And they'll just come into the West thinking they can extend their parasitic empire of extraction without needing to produce a single thing of value. And that's not what you want. You've been a taskers today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.